When did you first hear about Zoran Mamdani? Better yet, how long did it take for you to know exactly what he was campaigning on?
We're going to freeze the...
His direct and unapologetic nature challenged everything we've come to know from progressive politicians, leading to an easy win. But could that method work in Minecraft? Yep, it works. I know this because I used it. It didn't come easy though. I lost sleep, broke my elbow, and faced off against YouTubers 100 times my size. But, like all good stories, we need to start from the beginning. This day started like any other. People loaded into Skyblock to see who was in the new mayor election. For the past 3 years, there have been the same rotating cast of mayoral candidates, which is why everyone lost their minds when a new face entered the race. Aura was an unknown NPC from the Nether that was now running on vague promises that somewhat resembled populist policies. Where standard candidates offered concrete things like 35% more pet experience, Aura offered universal income, increased loot, and increased experience. Which made me quite excited. Because that same month, New York City saw a victory for the people, with Democratic Socialist Zoran Mamdani winning the mayoral election on promises of boosting social services and safety nets. And now, my favorite block game was seeing a victory for the people too. It felt like we were finally past the era of Red Scare nonsense. Or so I thought.
As soon as Aura entered office, a barrage of police-like goons emerged from City Hall and stationed themselves around the hub.
But that wasn't even the worst part. Aura won the election, and every positive policy had a catch. We got universal income, but if we badmouthed the mayor, we'd get sent to prison. We got increased loot, but all enemies were now stronger. We got more skill experience, but the unpaid minions unionized and demanded better working conditions. Okay, maybe that one's reasonable. But there's one thing Aura added that gave me hope. Player elections. Where she took away our regular mayor elections and instead stayed in power and hosted minister elections that let players vote for other players. This meant people could campaign to become elected officials, with the 7 most voted candidates becoming ministers and getting to choose a bonus to give to the entire player base. This was perfect. I could use this opportunity to run on a pro-common man agenda and prove to players that populist policies don't have to have downsides. But there was one small hiccup. No one knew who I was. If I wanted to win, I couldn't just rely on a pre-existing audience. No, I had to treat this like a real campaign. But I'm lazy, so instead of coming up with my own campaign strategy, I'll just steal an already proven one. I mean, how hard can it be? Now, this shouldn't come as a shock to you, but the first election was essentially a popularity contest, with famous YouTubers like I'm a Squid Kid and 30virus getting elected. Squid Kid actually used this newfound power to union bust the unpaid minions, which rightfully landed him in jail for being the greedy capitalist that he is. But that was just the first election, and I only had a few days until polls opened for the second one, so I had to figure out my minister bonus. Now at the time, no one really knew how these bonuses worked, so I actually chose 2 unique bonuses that altered 2 completely different parts of the game. One of them focused on evening the playing field for newer players, and the other one focused on making a specific drop a little bit easier to get. And with that, it was time to spread the word. So I binged Mamdani TikToks for like an hour, and then slapped together a campaign ad. It was high quality, made specifically for short form, and immediately addressed the inequalities within the first 5 seconds. And I got it out 2 whole hours before polls opened, which was enough time to get thousands of views on both YouTube and TikTok, and it even did pretty well on the game's subreddit. So I was actually feeling confident. Many of my opponents are running for the 1%, but I'm running for the rest of us. And by the rest of us, I mean the best of us. Now, even though the voting happened in Minecraft, something that was super important to me was using my green screen and VFX skills to keep a human face attached to the campaign, something that Mamdani did remarkably well. I mean, we all know that smile. Oh, right, polls. When polls finally opened, thousands of players rushed in and saw someone almost completely unknown climbing in votes. But it wasn't me. In fact, it was someone who's already caused quite a few problems.
Let's see the election. Let's see it. Who is this? Who is Confused Goon?
But Confused Goon wasn't a player. He was a goofy little NPC that appeared near City Hall following Aura's victory, and most people found him fun. The one winning the election, on the other hand, was a player. who had changed their name to confused_goon in order to leverage the community's adoration. And as this totally random and unimportant forums member named Nightlibra said, the player named confused_goon was famous YouTuber I'm a Squid Kid's secondary account. But whatever the case, this random player was #1 in votes and not going anywhere, which left the rest of us hopefuls aiming for the 6 spots below him. And that was when I got a very important Discord message.
Hi, Yikes. I'm thinking of scheduling a minister debate. You interested?
Oh, hell yeah. This was perfect. Not only am I going to be debating a bunch of Minecraft players, but I religiously watch Sam Cedar, so I'm like, good. But my opponents had one big advantage over me. Their names were on the ballot. Mine was not. See, only the 14 most voted players even showed up on the ballot, and anyone below that had a massive disadvantage with voters A, not knowing who you are, or B, not thinking you have an actual chance. So I felt like this debate was my one shot to get my name on the board. I just had to hope something interesting happened. A few hours before the debate, confused_goon joined the roster. And this petrified me. I mean, as far as I knew, this was I'm a Squid Kid, someone that I had been watching on YouTube and Twitch for, like, many years. But despite my nerves, I went in anyways with just one goal: represent the people. The debate started, we gave our opening statements, and Confused Goon was using an obvious AI voice changer that unfortunately didn't change what he was actually saying. Every single time I asked him what his policies were, he'd respond with,
"My plans are to bring Skyblock back to its former glory."
And this really distracted me, so I called him out and warned him not to come for the people. I challenged some other people's policies, debated other issues, and things wrapped up. But after the debate, I wanted to reach out to Squid Kid just to make sure he heard my warning. So I sent him this. Just in case you were tempted to come for the people.
I'm the only one for the people, buddy.
Okay, honestly, I didn't really like that at the time, so I may have been a bit petty in my response. Squid Kid should be put back in jail. But it didn't matter. When the election ended, Confused Goon was #1, and I wasn't even on the ballot. Focusing on him was a massive waste of time. I mean, thousands of people saw my campaign videos, so clearly, my policies just weren't sticking. And so I decided to do what any sane person would do after that kind of realization, and consulted the classics. Man's consciousness changes with every change in the conditions of his material existence. Karl Marx. My ideas were cool, but disorganized. Most of my opponents offered changes for a specific type of player. Like, this guy appealed to lumberjacks. This guy appealed to miners. But my perks solved problems that didn't really exist, and were completely disconnected from the material concerns of regular players. In my attempt to represent the people, I assumed I knew what they wanted instead of, asking them. And as such, I ended up copying the wrong New York mayoral candidate. But now it's time to listen to concerns. It's time to actually represent the people. It's time for... My plan to find a new policy was foolproof. Go undercover in a bunch of lobbies and just observe what people are complaining about. Except I primarily focused on the lower level, newer players, because they typically outnumber the elites, and because the elites complain about literally everything and still play the game for 12 hours a day every day. But after just a few hours of scouting, I had my target: powder grinding. This was a mind-numbing task that took dozens of hours to max and is a required grind for most players. This is one of the weakest points of the game in terms of both fun and tangible rewards. It was perfect, and since it's called powder, I decided to be cute and create an item called the Powder of the People, which would cut down the time required for this grind by up to 25%. And now that I was focusing on an issue people actually cared about, it was super easy to recruit volunteers to help with the campaign. And with that, I finally have hope that we can pull this off. There is plenty of hope. An infinite amount of it. But just not for us. Franz Kafka. Alright guys, I broke my elbow today, which sucks. I have to get it checked out by a specialist tomorrow. But the election booth... Yep, I crashed my e-bike on the way home from work and broke my elbow. And all because I was distracted thinking about exactly what shots I wanted to get for my next campaign ad, which now had to be put on hold because, believe it or not, I can't set up a green screen with one hand. But you know what I can do with one hand? Press the subscribe button. And I'm willing to bet you can too. Please? Anyways, shameless self-promotion aside, I really couldn't justify sacrificing my elbow's healing for a Minecraft election. Right? Yeah, no, the elbow didn't stop me in the slightest. I even bought a trackball mouse so that I could edit from inside my sling and took my few days off of work to make as many videos as I could. But since I couldn't use my green screen to stand out, I had to use my policy. Each video I got better and better at addressing the problem and offering a solution, which started to pay off. Just one day after I broke my elbow, I was on the ballot, and then suddenly I was top 10. And the next day, I made it to position number 8, just one away from being elected. By this point, I had an entire team of volunteers campaigning to get the powder of the people into the game, and we watched polls closely. My friend James even made a website that tracked polling data, but when I checked the projected outcomes, I was horrified. It said I would end the race with half as many votes as the person in number 7. We kept campaigning to try to overcome that gap, but when polls closed, the prediction was exactly right. I was one spot away from being elected. I had never been closer, but I started to feel further than ever from my goal. Especially since I found out during this election that only the top 3 candidates get to add custom items. So even if I had gotten to number 7, I would only be able to offer temporary pre-selected buffs, and not actually get to make a change to time inequality. There were more elections on the way, but I just couldn't campaign anymore. I don't know, maybe I was wrong. Maybe no one in the player base actually cares about being represented. Maybe these elections truly were just a game of under-promising and over-delivering, something done by almost all the previous winners. I was burnt out and wanted nothing more than to just make a long-form video again. Unless some Deus Ex Machina stepped in, that was it. I was done.
Are you not running this election?
I am. Not gonna campaign though, because I'm #burnt out.
Well, Aloy just found out that it may be possible to make his custom perk that everyone else in the top 7 gets a custom perk. So if you get lucky, this election may be the election.
Oh we are so back! I skipped an election and thus got a whole 5-day break from campaigning, so I was feeling pretty refreshed. Now, I didn't get good sleep in that time, because, you know, broken elbow, but I'll sleep when we win. And since it had been a whole week since I broke my elbow, I mean, it was basically healed. So I was ready to make one last green screen campaign ad to rule them all. A good bit after my campaign ended, I actually discovered a Substack about the Mamdani Method written by the iconic progressive strategist Waleed Shahid. And in it, he outlines 5 things that set Mamdani's campaign apart. The first being, start with substance. Hypixel Skyblock has a massive problem. Time inequality. And with this video, the method was becoming part of the message, and that message was spreading like wildfire. We easily made the top 14, shot up to number 8, and I was gaining votes ridiculously fast. There was another debate coming up, and as I was preparing, I saw the person in position number 7 talking a bit of smack on his livestream. So I decided to do some friendly taunting as I caught up to him. And just like that, we were officially set to become an elected official using the Mamdani method. But we still weren't in the clear. See, the guy who wanted to give all 7 elected ministers their own custom perks didn't actually know if it would be accepted or not. So he said that if it wasn't, he would forfeit his custom buff to whoever got number 4. So number 7 was a gamble, but number 4 was a guarantee. And I didn't come this far just to let the exploited proletariat down. No, we were getting the victory that the people deserve. So when this elections debate came around, I wasn't nervous at all.
How am I going to be compensated for all the time that I put that is now basically going to go to waste? And what are you saying to these people who kind of don't want their progress to be devalued?
Let me first say that I appreciate this question, but I do just want to challenge this conservative framework that just because you suffered, other people must suffer. I think that if we open the game to more and more people and we make it a little less intimidating to start playing this game, that is a net positive for everybody. because with new players comes more funding, which allows for new updates and better overall content for everybody.
That's fair. That's fair.
And with that, I shot up to position number 5. This election was ending the next day, which had me a bit stressed, but I decided, since I had work in the morning, I was going to get some rest. Be subtle. Be subtle. Sun Tzu. And when I woke up, I had the perfect idea. Before going to work, I asked my campaign Discord server if anyone could make me a Zoran Mamdani Minecraft skin. And Nader Gamer did me right. Oh yeah. But while I was at work, something terrible was happening. A cabal of elite players started commenting on all my posts, calling the Powder of the People item Tally Slop. Now at the time, I thought that these were regular people who weren't happy with my item, so I checked in with my team and they reassured me that the public sentiment was still pretty positive. Because even while I was at work, they were still actively campaigning, which was made super easy with phrases like time inequality and powder for the people, immediately explaining what the campaign was about and who the campaign was for. But my fight with the elites wasn't over at all. It was only really beginning. Do you remember when I mentioned that totally random and unimportant forums member named Night Libra? Well, I was actually using a neat literary device there called foreshadowing, because Night Libra is very important to the story. See, he was in the position right below me, running to bring back an old event that, above all, benefited more elite players. And since he's so tapped in with the elites of Skyblock, he was able to form a coalition of high-level players to essentially peer pressure newer players into voting for him. But at first, this didn't really worry me. I figured that the people would prevail. And, it's not like I could do anything. I was in the middle of my shift. But then the nerves got worse. Yeah, no, not like this. I couldn't just lie in wait while the elites were making a mockery of the people's wishes. I had to do something. See, I actually remembered this neat little thing that as an assistant manager, I could just kind of leave if I needed to, especially since there were 2 other managers on shift. Now, did I tell them that it was for a Minecraft election? No. Was I lying when I said that I was super anxious and felt like I was going to throw up? Also no. Is that embarrassing to admit? So I went home several hours before my shift ended and booted up a live stream for one last leg of campaigning. We got 2 hours and 20 minutes remaining. There's only 16 votes between us. This morning, I had him by over 100 votes.
I just want to say we've also increased our lead up to 23 votes ahead of Night Libra. We're up to like 37 votes right now. Good shit.
We are currently 49 votes above Night Libra. 1 away from 50. We're 50 votes above. Let's go. Widen the gap. Widen the gap. Oh, the difference is now down to just 40. It has just hit sub 20. We are 18 votes ahead. We have 21 minutes. Just got here. How's it going? It's stressful, Nate. We have a 15 lead on my screen.
2 minutes.
We are doing incredible. Everybody, I'm so proud of you guys.
5,
Please.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, we got 5th. And with that, we had done it. We had secured a position number 5, and the powder of the people was now inevitable. Now you may be thinking, I thought you said number 4 was needed to be safe. Why are you happy about number 5? Well, you see, this is the YouTuber Alawi who got number 1 and promised to give everybody custom perks, and this is a misspelling of his name that got number 4, because the player base is full of children and ding-dongs who can't really spell.
As I said already before, if my perk wasn't gonna get accepted, I will be giving it to the 4th place. But since the 4th place is this guy, it's gonna go to YikesMC.
Now, yes, I could have run in more elections and leveraged my momentum to get number 1, but that wasn't the point. I mean, as Sun Tzu wrote, let your great object be victory, not lengthy campaigns. This was never about winning a high placement. This was about improving the material conditions of the common man without compromise. It was about representing people, and showing those people that they can be represented without downsides. Which I realize now as I'm editing this is another part of Mamdani's method. Where so many politicians focus on what steps to take in order to further their political career, Mamdani instead takes that focus and redirects it into making the city better. I mean, people constantly say they wish Mamdani could run for president, but the fact that he can't is what makes him such an effective mayor, because his focus is right where it should be. Except the elite weren't done ruining my plans. My primary opposition, Night Libra, chose a pre-selected perk that made all incumbent ministers' votes 5,000 times more powerful, thus tying our populist campaign to political corruption. It was cool while it lasted, but not all of us can be as successful as Mamdani. But that doesn't mean that we should... Wait, hold on. I got a Discord DM. 1 second. Squid Kid?
I see you won minister and have a powerful vote in the next election.
Oh, son of a... Oh, and contrary to popular belief, the MC in my name doesn't actually stand for Minecraft. It apparently stands for Yikes. Man cheetah. No, not actually. Comment down below what you think it stands for, and I'll pick my favorite to feature at the end of my next video. And really quickly, I'd like to also give a massive shout out to Impulse, Astro, Greggy, Suya, Nate, Knock, and the rest of the Minister campaign team. You guys are truly amazing. And if you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'll enjoy this video, where I cover how Minecraft's MMORPG Windcraft broke the mold. Thank you all so much for watching, subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.